welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you found me today. So today I'm going to be putting my hair in a long-term protective style. I'm going to be doing tiny, well, not tiny, but small feed-in cornrows, and I'm going to be doing it myself. So I want to show you guys, I want to take you guys on this journey with me. I honestly don't know how I'm going to look with this style because I haven't done it before. Much has done it before by myself, on myself. So I'm kind of nervous, but I really hope that it goes well. And I just want to show you guys how I did it, in case it goes well, so you can, follow my steps. And if it doesn't go well, you can laugh at me. So it's a win-win, really. All right, so I'm beginning to yapper on. Let me just get right to it. I'm gonna switch from this to voiceover so that I don't distract myself. I really need to pay attention because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I've watched tons of tutorials, and I'm just hoping that it goes well. So yeah, if you want to watch other videos of me doing my own hair myself, I'm gonna link the playlist above. Yeah, just enjoy enjoy it. All right, let's get into it. So to stretch my hair, I had combined the twisting and banding method. So I just took it down, and of course you can't start any protective style without moisturizing your hair. So I took my leave-in conditioner and I just rubbed it in. Then I took down the twist and detangled my hair with my fingers. I used this method to stretch my hair because I didn't want heat in my hair like at all. I didn't want to blow dry my hair. With my hair all stretched out now, I took my rat tail comb and divided my hair into two sections first. I'm trying to make this as easy for myself as possible. So I want to have some braids under the corners. So I'm going to part off the lower part of that section. And I'm going to repeat that on the other side as well. I should have actually parted off this section before dividing my hair into two. It would have been a lot easier, but I forgot, and this was my way of making it back. So the braiding hair that I'm going to be using is this Expression 8x multi superstar pre-stretched yada yada yada. There was just a lot on the name, but there are 8 bundles of hair, and I think they are separated into 3 different lengths. There's 52 inches, 56 inches, and 58 inches, I think. And yeah, I really love the color and the length, so I decided to buy it and use it. So the first thing I'm going to start with, of course, are the braids underneath, and they are going to be knotless braids. So I divided 4 small sections for one single knotless braid. So I'm going to use my hair wax edge control to make the part really crisp, and then I'm going to detangle the entire section first with a rat tail comb and then with my detangling brush. So for knotless braids, I'm going to start with my natural hair. I'm going to do 2 stitches of my natural hair before adding the braiding hair. And to add the braiding hair, I'm going to just braid in one part of the section, then I'm going to do a stitch before adding the next part of the section. Now I'm going to do a few more stitches before adding the next piece of braiding hair because my pieces of braiding hair are a bit large for the size of braid I'm trying to achieve. So now that it's time to add another piece of braiding hair, I'm going to repeat what I did the first time, which is to braid in one part, do a stitch, and then braid in the next part. So that's basically how I'm going to be doing it. I'm just going to be adding more pieces of braiding hair as I go on until I reach the desired size of braid that I want to achieve. To prevent the braid from thinning out too early, you also have to add braiding hair to it, even when you are braiding down like this. And this is how I do it. I basically add the braiding hair into the stitch that I'm about to do so that it just naturally blends in with my braiding pattern. As you can see, it is hard to detect exactly where I added the braiding hair. So that's how I basically do it. I just braid and measure and then keep braiding some more until I reach my desired length. I don't typically braid all the way to the end, but you just know when you have reached your desired length, assuming you have finished it all the way to the end. I mean, look now, the braid is going to be really long. So now I'm going to move on to the next braid, and you will see that there is a major improvement over the first one. The first one was like the one I used to break the ice. You can see the difference between the two. The next one that I'm doing is much neater than the first, and that's because I use smaller sections rather than the chunky 4 that I used at the first one. So I finished all the bottom braids, and at the end of the day they all looked really good, well, except the first one sharp, but we moved. I was gunning for a total of 24 braids, so I figured the best way to do that was to divide my hair into 2, 12, 12, then divide each 12 into 2, 6, 6, then divide each 6 into 2, 3, 3. So that's what I'm doing. I'm about to start braiding now, so I'm taking my daily refreshing moisture mist from Afro Pillow Care, and I'm going to spray that all over my section just to make sure that I'm not working with dry hair, because you all know what comes out of working with dry hair. So after moisturizing, I'm going to detangle fully, and then I'm going to use my edge control to make the parts as crisp and separated as possible, because the worst thing you want to have in cornrows is hair mixing within the sections. You really don't want that. So I'm going to take my first section. As you can see, it's going to be really tiny because I want the all back to be like small. So make sure if you are going for small cornrows, make sure you part small sections, but not too small that they can't handle the weight of the braiding hair that you're about to put in. Okay, so I section the rest of the hair off, and then I go again with my edge control to make the part super neat and also to straighten out my ends, doing that so they don't come sticking out at day 3. I'm starting the cornrows with my natural hair, and I'm going to take 3 sections and do about 2 or 3 stitches before adding the braiding hair. Now when I want to add the braiding hair, I'm going to braid in one part of the braiding hair, and I'm going to do a stitch and then add the second part of the braiding hair in, and then do another stitch. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again. I'm going to take the braiding hair, braid in one part, do a stitch, and then add the next part of the braiding hair of that particular piece of braiding hair, and then do another stitch. And that is how I'm going to be doing it. I'm just going to be adding the braiding hair in like that. That is why it is called feed in cornrows. You're feeding in the pieces of braiding hair one at a time as you go. And you should continue to feed in the braiding hair until you have achieved the desired size of cornrow that you want. Because obviously as you add the braiding hair, the cornrow begins to get bigger. So once you have reached the size that you want, you can stop adding in the braiding hair and just continue weaving. So this is how the first corner is looking, and I'm pretty proud of myself because it looks really neat. Ignore that crooked braid. That was just the warm-up braid, okay? That's not how the rest are gonna look like, I promise. So I'm taking the rest of that section and I'm going to divvy it up into 2 parts, because that section is originally supposed to be 3 cornrows. So I've done one, I'm going to do the second one now, and then the last piece is going to be for the 3rd cornrow. So I'm using my edge control to smoothen the parting again, and also the ends. I don't want them sticking up prematurely. And then I'm going to detangle. I have my sections already laid out, my braiding hair, and then I'm just going to go right in. Following the same steps that I explained when I was doing my first corner, I'm going to braid my natural hair for about 2 to 3 stitches before adding the braiding hair. I'm going to add in one part first and then do a stitch, and then add the second part and do another stitch, then add braiding hair again, one part stitch, second part another stitch, and just go on from there. So just I think I've explained it well, so I'm just gonna let you watch. Fast forward to when I'd already done 4 cornrows, and you can see that the 2 in the middle are looking a bit beefier than the 2 that surround them, but you know what, I don't care. when I do more, that fact will be a little more concealed. As you can see, now that I've done a few more, those two are not even obvious again. So we move. This is actually the next day. I just wore the same shirt so that I'll try and fool you people, but you know, I cannot lie to you guys. At this point, I had hit that part of doing cornrows, especially when you're not an expert, where you have a lot of hair in the front, but you run out of sections at the back. So I was trying to do like a kind of style where I would join two cornrows together so that the section at the back will be enough for all of them to reach the back. It was a long process, and it was very painful and tiresome to the point that I didn't even feel like recording at the point anymore. So I just skipped to the good parts. I got some hot water and a bowl, and I put the ends of the cornrows in, you know, now the normal. Put the ends of the cornrow inside hot water, and I made sure that I did not put like everything. It looks like I did, but I didn't. The hot water, you see where I'm holding, the hot water stops at a point. So don't put your natural hair in hot water, okay? So I towel dried it so that, you know, water will not be pouring all over my body, and I used some hot water to just press my head. You know, the normal stuff now. But that water was hot, so I burnt myself. Anyway, it was all worth it because the cornrows came out so pretty. Look at the braids, look so cute. Of course, I had to lay my edges. Cornrows will never ever be complete without laying your edges, you know what I'm saying? Lay those edges well. I still had 2 whole untouched bundles left, and then a third one that was basically still full. I only used a little out of it. Then I cleaned up my braiding space because I couldn't even think again. It was just so rough. Then I took my styling mousse from Nova Gold and I applied it all over my head. Using mousse is like my favorite part of doing braids. That cooling sensation that it gives, like after all your pain and suffering, your head should just cool down. Like, I love the feeling. So after applying the mousse all over everywhere and also on like the ends of the cornrows, I'll now tie my hair with a scarf so that, you know, or any flyaway can lie back down. This style is new. Nothing should come and spoil it. It's supposed to be looking fresh and neat. So I tie my scarf and I leave it on for a little while. Then I take it off and oh my gosh, look at me now. I did that. Oh, thank you, Lord Jesus.
Alright guys, so that is the end of this video. It was chaotic, it was painful, but at the end of the day, the result was so totally worth it. I am so glad for like how this all turned out. I love the length. Oh my god, I feel like a bad bitch. I'm gonna definitely cut off all these like scraggly ends and stuff, but it's still gonna be real long. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Please be sure you saw all the energy and strength that went into making this video. So please, if not for anything but for the love in your heart as a human being, like this video, consider subscribing, share it to your friends, family, cousins, neighbors, enemies and haters, and then join me next week for another video. Okay, we do. All right, I love that. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.